All good now?
All good. Perfect.
Okay. As Rob said, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you spending the time this afternoon to learn a little bit about BoilerMag. As I said, my name is Mark Ward. I'm the sales director for magnetics for Eclipse Magnetics. BoilerMag is just one of our brands. We do magnetics for multiple different things. I'll give you some examples. We do magnetics for the food industry, for instance, to stop metal contamination getting in your food. We do filtration equipment for industrial fluids like coolant and engineering oils, quench tanks. We do lifting magnets and little red pop magnets that go through catalog houses. So BoilerMag is about, 10% of our business, and it's a magnetic system designed for hydronic systems, which is where you guys come in. I've been around Eclipse Magnetics for 25 years now. Over this side of the water for the last 12, emigrated to help set up the office over here. Our office is in Ontario, Canada, just outside Toronto. Our head office is in the UK, as I just said, and we've got facilities with warehousing in Buffalo and in Chicago, and of course our main office in Ontario. So BoilerMag, I'm hoping the reason that you've joined us today is because you've seen some of these issues in some ways. These issues didn't really exist until a few years ago. Old systems were big boilers, big pipe work, impellers on pumps. You know, the old way we used to do things where everything could be bigger. The advent of the new combi boilers, the high efficiency boilers, the ECM pumps with the magnet inside, really means that contamination recirculating around old steel pipe systems, they can't manage to process that. The black sludge or magnetite or iron oxide, as some people call it, it's starting to block up the heat exchangers. That magnet that drives the ECM pump becomes contaminated and won't turn anymore, or it tears the seals up, or we're just getting plugged heat exchanger bundles and pipe work. So the BoilerMag's a magnetic filter that we install in line, takes the full flow of the filter, preferably, to make sure that we filter out all that magnetite on the first pass, making sure that only clean water returns back to the boiler or the radiator or whatever it is you're trying to protect. There's a few pictures there that I'm sure guys who are out in the field on installations will recognize. So I know you're all familiar with Xylem and B&G and the EcoCirc circulator. This is what it says on the Xylem website. Magnetite buildup can affect between 10 to 50% of efficiency. And to combat this problem, we recommend the flushing of the system together with an inhibitor and a magnetic dirt separator. So I was talking to George the last time we did one of these, and probably 5 years ago, this wasn't even a conversation. It was more about the boiler. But the number of EcoCircs that are out there, this is starting to become more of a challenge. We're seeing the failures, the warranty replacements, and just the pumps starting to fail in the system. So BoilerMag comes out with a complete hydronic system solution. We've got a 3-step solution. We do a range of chemicals. So we suggest that you would clean the system first, add in a BoilerMag to help protect that system, and then put some inhibitor in there that will help stop any further degradation of the system. Simple traffic light sequence, so we can try and market it as a 1, 2, 3 solution. So we've got a range of products depending on the size of the property. BMR residential on the left is the smallest one. It's what you would put in a normal sized home. That's what I've got here at home. Inch NPT threaded valves come with the system, and an 1.25 inch adapter. And just as we speak, we're launching a press connection. They'll be around towards the middle of the year. We're actually manufacturing those now, so there'll be either a threaded version on the valves or a press connection. We then go to the BMXL commercial. 1.5-inch pipe work, threaded NPT inlets and outlets. It's basically a larger steel version of the residential, and it's designed for commercial sized buildings. Sell a lot of those. And then we've got the industrial size. Comes with ANSI flanges, much larger capacity, 1.5 right up to 12-inch. They're for the really big industrial systems. And then we've got the BM3 cleaner and the BM1 inhibitor, a small chemical range, just to supplement the BoilerMag branding. Okay, I always apologize for this picture, so I'm going to have to go through the pictures and get a better one, because I'm never quite sure what a Lion boiler is. It's a horrible old looking picture, but it shows the BoilerMag in a great position, right on the return, protecting the boiler. Should get a locking bar boiler in there, I'm sure. But
you make that happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Good. So that boiler could be a heat exchanger. That boiler could be the pump. It could be whatever it is you're trying to protect. The theory is you're going to let the magnet see the fluid right before it hits whatever your new investment is or your expensive piece of equipment. We always try to say full flow and there's no need to bypass, but the reality is some boiler rooms are packed with pipe work. We haven't always got access to it. We've got to put it wherever it's most appropriate. It could be that the customer can't afford to invest in the massive system, but they can afford to put it on a side stream or a bypass. Honestly, I'd take that. If you're going to put a BoilerMag on there and you can only afford a 2-inch, a 4-inch would be better. I'll take you putting the 2-inch in rather than putting nothing in at all. So, quick word on the residential. Everything comes in the box. It comes in a retail style box. You've got the filter, you've got the valving, gaskets, O-rings, all the tools, an automatic air vent. Like I say, at the moment, just NPT threaded valves available, but probably by June, July, we should have the press connections in stock, and we're going to carry both. This is a cross section of one of the BoilerMags in place, and you'll see how the actual vessel is split. You'll see some pictures of that later on. There's a plastic divider in the vessel, which means that the flow just can't pass straight through. It has to go down both sides of the magnet, which gives the magnet double the chance to take out any contamination. The valves come with it, like I say, so it goes through the valve, through the filter, back into the system, fully cleaned, and we're getting about 90+% first pass efficiency. But anything that passes it, we're going to remove. Dual pass, dual flow, guaranteed not to block, easy to fit. Here's some pictures. The top left one, you'll see a nice locking bar boiler there with a BoilerMag on the return. I believe that's from your area. On the right hand side, this is up in Alaska. Brand new copper system, copper pipe system with a Dunkirk boiler. The picture at the bottom in the middle with the contamination on the magnet, that's what the magnet looks like when you take it out. That's from the installation on the right hand side after 2 weeks. So they installed it, ran it for 2 weeks, checked the magnet, that's what they took out of it. The one at the top in the middle, that's actually in Pennsylvania. Our reps down there, Bitzer, did that. It was one of their employees' brothers who installed a new system. He thought that he'd got a clean system, but he put a BoilerMag in just to see what he'd got. That's after 6 weeks. You can see the kind of rusty slime and contamination on there. That would have ended up in his brand new expensive high efficiency boiler. For the sake of a couple $100, he saved himself quite some damage there. Move on to the next. The commercial one, like I said, it's pretty much the same technology, the same size, the same flow as the smaller one. It's made of steel, it's bigger, higher capacity, 1.5 inch NPT threaded. Like I say, it's full stainless steel. You'll see from the pictures on the next one that the magnet's much larger, much more contamination capacity. again, it's easy to install. You remove the top, scrape off the contamination, and away you go. The industrial one, this is the BoilerMag XT. In stock, we've got the range you see there, 1.5 inches all the way through to 8 inch. We sell throughout the whole range. There isn't 2s and 3s and 4s are probably the most popular. We do made to order sizes, and we've done 10s and we've done 12-inch anti-flanged. And like I say, the very high contamination collection capacity, huge flow rates. And you can see on the next one how it's constructed. So you'll see the vessel on the right-hand side. The thing in the middle is a tube canister. That's what holds the magnets. So we bolt that to the vessel, and now you've got a sealed fluid vessel. If you insert the magnets into the tubes, and now you've got a fully protected magnetic system. You remove the magnets, that's how we clean it, which you can see on the next slide, hopefully. You'll see there the vessel in the middle with the magnets being pulled out. The way that we install it, we always put a valve before and afterwards. We can then isolate the BoilerMag, remove the magnets. Now everything you've collected from the dirty system falls to the bottom of the vessel. We can then open the drain valve, open the inlet a touch just to let a few gallons of fluid out, purge that system of everything you've collected, open all the valves up, put the magnets back in, and then you're back to working again. It's simple to service, simple to clean, very little pressure drop across it, even when it's full. Yeah, we do lots of these. I've got some pictures, hopefully, in the next couple of slides. This shows you how it's installed. Make sure you've got enough space above to pull the magnets out. Make sure you've got enough space below, drain it, and give yourself some room to put some valves before it and afterwards. This shows here a simple system. It's been installed before the pump, before the heat exchanger, before the boiler. But like I said earlier, wherever is most appropriate, wherever you've got access to it, wherever's closest to the expensive piece of equipment you're trying to protect. Here's a couple of pictures. The one on the right-hand side is actually a chiller loop. It's not a boiler. It's a chiller up in Minnesota. I think that's a 10-inch, but it might be 12. The header is in the roof space. They've dropped a U-pipe down, so they've got access to the BoilerMag for servicing. You can see the valves there. That just makes it a little easier to clean. The one at the bottom is in San Diego, I believe. That's on top of a university outside. I think the one at the top left, I think that's in New England as well. Now, when you come to clean it, obviously the easiest way is to pull the magnets out and drain it out of the bottom, so you've not got a big disassembly job. If you don't do that and you remove the entire top assembly with the magnets still in the cartridge, that's what it looks like. So you can see what you've collected. Most people want to do that on the first couple of cleans, so they can see how bad their system is and how often they would need to clean it. Always get the question is how often do you need to clean these? Well, it depends on the system. Depends how bad the system is. I can give you an example. I installed the BoilerMag on my new boiler system. I'd taken it back to the studs, all new copper piping. I have no cast iron radiators. I opened mine up after about a month, and the magnet was packed. I then opened it after another month, and I'd got about half the amount. I then opened it after about 6 months, and I'd hardly got anything at all. So I self-monitored the cleaning frequency, and that's what we'd normally suggest. On an industrial application, we'd probably want to check it after the first few days, maybe after the first day. Check it after a day, see what it's like. Check it after a week, see what it's like. And you'll develop your own cleaning frequency. I put this slide in just to show you that we've got a marketing team that's available. Any ideas you've got for flyers or ways to present the technology. The one on the right there we did for a customer of ours who was looking to explain why inline filters were better. We've got a nice team internally who can give you access to images, graphics, do flyers for you, do emailers for you. So if you need anything like that, just please let us know. again, I put this slide in to show you a little bit about why being in line and full flow is important to us. We want to make sure that magnet sees the flow. The magnet on the left, it's one of the Comparative ones. You'll see the black ring around the magnet on the bottom left, but you'll also see that the flow rate is in the top of the vessel. There's some theory that the heavy particles go to the bottom of the vessel and are captured by the magnet, but we've done some tests and found that to be about 30% efficient versus our 90+% efficiency. We think there's too much unprotected flow there. If you're going to put a magnet in, make sure that the magnet at least sees the flow. And then on the one on the right, it's a magnet that wraps around a pipe. I never quite understand this one, to be honest, because the inside of the pipe is unprotected and the outside of the pipe is starting to accumulate contamination and restricting the flow in the pipe. And I'm never quite sure how to clean it. So I see the theory in it, but I just don't believe that that's a better way of doing it. Do a quick word on chemicals. Like I said earlier, we're not really a chemical company, but we've got a branded range of chemicals to supplement the BoilerMag. A simple cleaner and inhibitor. We sell pints and gallons to treat various size systems. And the BoilerMag cleaner helps to disperse iron oxide, limescale, flux, and other debris. It's fast acting. The idea is that you'd go to a system, install, add the cleaner, recirculate it for a while. About an hour most people would do it for. Empty the system, flush it out, refill it, and then use the test strips to check to make sure that you removed most of the BoilerMag. There's a chart on the back to say, like a concentration chart. You need to remove as much as you can from the system. And the reason for that is we don't want to leave it in there for more than 28 days. It must be removed. If you leave the cleaner in for longer, there's a chance it could start to affect some of the rubber or plastic components in the system, if there is any. The cleaner can be used with aluminum, plastic, underfloor heating, combi boilers, and power flushers. It's best practice to not mix it with other brands of cleaners, although the reality is it probably will. It won't cause you any issues, but best practice is no. MSDS sheets are available, and it's okay for hard or soft water, and we hold it in stock. So the theory is you've cleaned the system, you've flushed it, you've added more fluid to more water to the system, you've added a BoilerMag to the system, of course. Now you're going to add some inhibitor to the system. This is going to prevent more scale formation or metal corrosion, and this won't have any detrimental effects on plastic or rubber components. You can add this in and leave it. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they said about 10 years is how long it will last if you maintain the concentrations. It's all the nasty chemicals free, compatible with all leading boiler types. And here the test strips are used to make sure you've got enough in. So you'd add it, and again there's a color chart on the back of the inhibitor. Check your test strip against that color chart to make sure you've got enough concentration. Again, a few of the more common questions. Yes, you can use it with softened water. Better to overdose than underdose. The color I've got on mine is way off the chart, just to make sure I've got enough in. It can't be used as an antifreeze. Yes, we've got MSDS sheets. And yes, it's okay to use in glycol. A couple of additional products that we've added to the range recently. We've got an electrolytic scale reducer for hot water systems and a BoilerMag flush cart. The flush cart's exactly what it says. It's designed for flushing out systems, either recirculating it and using the integrated filter bag, or we can flush to waste. Again, two options. There's lots of levers and valves on there to help you, and we've got those in stock as well. What we've seen is wholesalers buying those to rent out. But like I said, we've got those in stock now. I mentioned marketing earlier on. Like I said, we've got a great marketing team and some products to help you sell. We've got sampling magnets for testing boiler water on site. We've got BoilerMag counter stands where you get the circular stand at the bottom for your wholesale counter. We've also got counter mats and shaker jars, which everyone seems to like. It's a little magnet in a shaker jar, like a snow globe. Put the magnet in, it shows the magnet working. Again, we've been very successful in show and tell tool. I'm going to talk about BoilerMag, and it makes me laugh because it's the same magnet. It's exactly the same product. It's just got a different sticker on it. But some customers of ours can't get their head around putting a BoilerMag on a chiller loop. So and certain government inspectors maybe don't like that either. There's a few stories there, but a chiller mag is a BoilerMag with a different label. So if you have that, come across that situation, don't think this is just for boilers. This is for chillers as well. And we have the stickers available if branding is going to become an issue. And that's really the summary. We've got X stock of everything. We're able to drop ship to installation places. We've got an industry-leading side range. And we know magnets. We've been making magnets since 1914. We adapt magnets to various different applications. So we like to think we know what we're doing. So anything you've got, any questions or any comments or anything that's come through on the chat, let me know and we'll help you out. I'm not hearing you, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't hear you, Rob. He's all mic'd up. Did your battery die? That's funny.
How about now? Can you hear me now, Mark?
Yes.
Oh yeah, now you just came through then, yes.
All right, there you go. Takes a while to get across the border. Part of the no travel. So Mark, question about how does that mesh not block when it collects a lot of scale or something like that? What's the process there?
Good question. Okay, so the way that it comes through it actually hits the mesh on the convex way. So it hits the mesh and moves around to the outside, and there's a collection area there. So the mesh always kind of self-cleans itself. If it was the other way and concave, it would start to fill up. So the mesh is dished.
The opposite.
So we hit it on the outside of the dish so that it pushes the contamination away. I can only think of one installation we've had where that's actually blocked, and it was a horrific system in Quebec. I mean, it wasn't just metal contamination. There were a lot of fibers in there, and it blinded it over. But that's the only one I can recall where that's been an issue. If it does become an issue, that mesh is removable.
Okay. I got two more, and I'm waiting on just a follow up on a third, Mark, so I'll give it to you. But another one is, and I just want to make sure that I explain this back to Dale correctly. So this is a sort of a multi-pass. We come down the front side of the magnet and back up the back side. Is that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so we're picking up, and I think you talked
a lot of some of the other magnets it'll pass the magnet one way. Sorry, we're talking over each other then. Go ahead.
That's right. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I missed your question.
Oh, so it was just the fact of that two passing. We're getting so much of it the first time, and then it's just what's left in that second kind of pass up the back end?
What tends to happen is the larger particles get captured on that first pass because there's more mass to attract.
What to attract?
And the second pass, that you tend to get the smaller particles on the second pass. It's had time to become energized and then captured.
I think that answers that. And we're getting a question here from Bill Togneri. This one's a little more difficult, I think, to answer, but he's got a Lochinvar boiler with a radiant system, and he's got the opaque packs. And so as he's looking in there, he sees a lot of just dirty color to it. It's very blackish looking. Is that a BoilerMag? Is that a chemical? Is it a combination of everything?
Tough to tell yet. That's one of the reasons for the BoilerMag sampling magnet, so that you can go to site, take a jar of system water, give it a stir with the magnet, and then you'll see it attracts very quickly. And if you need some of those, let me know and we'll get you some over. They're a great tool for on-site for contractors.
Okay, I think that's where he's looking for. And then Dale asked a question, and just I'm not certain. Question is, can the BoilerMag be used in HVAC applications as well? Which I think you talked about chillers, but what about in refrigerants?
Yeah, no reason why not.
Okay,
It's a closed loop of liquid. Correct me if I'm wrong. You'd probably need to use the stainless version.
Okay. I think pressure might be our bigger issue, depending where we are in the liquid or the, which side obviously that we are.
Okay.
And then I think that's because you guys filter jet fuel, so I mean putting it in other mediums isn't.
Not with the BoilerMag, but with other technologies. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same system. It's the same magnetic circuit, same magnetic material. But yeah, we do everything from jet fuel to coolant to. I was talking to somebody today talking about kerosene. We do all sorts.
Okay. So I within the chat, guys, I did send some of the questions the BoilerMag kind of literature, their handout, and then after this, we're going to send out an email with some more resources for BoilerMag. And then Brian just asked a question: would the gaskets change in a refrigeration application, Mark? Do you know?
I wouldn't know. They're all Viton seals. Okay. I'm not familiar enough with refrigerant to know if that's compatible.
Okay.
I'd have to be led by you on that, but different O-rings or gaskets would depend on the fluid.
Okay. I think that anybody else have any more questions? Put them in the chat. We'll get them to Mark. I don't see any more.
Mark.
Yeah.
My only comment would be that to your point with regards to obviously the mod-con boiler market, but also the influence or the increased sale and application of the ECM pumps, ECM motor, with the magnetic motor. It's become a big part of the ECM presentation on all different levels, whether it be at the engineering lunch and learn or contractor trainings or wholesaler, what have you. That if we're talking ECM, it goes hand in hand with talking about some type of, in this case, BoilerMag, a magnet to protect. Yeah. And we try to explain as we're doing our presentations that's the norm across the pond. It's high efficiency, both on the gas, condensing side. It's high efficiency on the electrical ECM, and then the third part is to protect them. That technology needs to be protected, and so it's just like the third leg of the stool that you.
Are you finding it's more about the pumps now than the boilers, or is it both?
Definitely the pumps, and certainly in some cases certainly boilers, but definitely the pumps. And they're with all with all the manufacturers increasing their sales, if you will, and then in certain parts over here, the utilities are playing a big role with regards to incentivizing to get that higher efficient, perhaps less consuming kW circulator.
Okay.
But then we find that we got to protect it, and so it's sometimes it's perceived that you're just trying to sell us something extra, but really it's to protect the investment that the consumer, be it a building owner or a homeowner or whatever, has made.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't tell this story this time, but now's the time for it. You mentioned across the pond. Obviously, I'm familiar with that. There's the way that their legislation is and the way that their service contracts are written. If you've got a breakdown and the service guy calls under a warranty claim, the first thing he'll do is he'll test the water for chemical concentration. He'll check your service record and he'll make sure you've got a magnet on there. If all those three are in place, he will fix the issue under warranty. If any of those three are not in place, he'll either walk out the door or you're paying for his visit, because their understanding of system quality is a couple of decades in front of where we are over here. Just because they've had combi boilers for longer, 95% of all homes are hot water heat. So they're much more advanced in terms of acceptance of the technology and the legislation behind having a magnet on systems. Every house in the UK has got a BoilerMag or something similar in it. It's just, I think we'll get there over here. We've not had enough pain yet of boilers failing and pumps failing to drive that legislation, but it'll come.
Yeah, we definitely see it year over year. You know, there's more acceptance, and I think a big part of that is education.
Right.
Maybe a combination of experiencing an issue as well as being educated on why it's happening.
Exactly. No, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Yeah, we had a conversation 7, 8 years ago, and it was kind of a new concept. And why would we do this? And here we are 7 years later, and it's very. You can tell by the conversations we're having that there's much more awareness now, and it'll continue to grow.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and especially here in the kind of hydronics alley, you know,
Yes.
Maine to like Delaware and Pennsylvania east.
Yeah,
where all the boilers are, it's where all the hydronic systems are.
Absolutely. Yeah,
you know,
it's
kind
coming.
of it's coming, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't want to belabor the point, but we just want to say thank you very much for you sharing some time with us.
No, not at all. No, it's always a pleasure dealing with you guys at FIA. Anything you need in the future going forward, just let us know. You know where we are. Hopefully we can help. If there's any more questions after this, again, let me know.
Of course, of course. Rob, do you have anything to say?
No, we're all good. We did just get a, Mark, and I think we got this from you last time, but we got a request from somebody in the seminar here for a copy of the presentation, which they will get a link to after it's done. We used that one you sent us last time. So. Okay,
awesome.
All right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Great.
Guys, Mark, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, be safe.
And you.
Thank you.